Do remember to express your affection for the video, share your delightful musings in the comments, and subscribe to remain enchanted by our latest tales. At 62, I never envisioned I would be swept away into such an unexpected affair. Life, it seems, was meant to unfold with a certain charm and certainty by this point. Sunrise finds me nurturing my garden, while the afternoons are a gentle embrace of literary escape, and as twilight descends, I sit beside my beloved Leonard, lost in the sweet whispers of our shared past. Yet, on a fateful evening, an intimate exchange transformed everything, casting doubt on the certainties I once held dear. It all began at an enchanting corporate gala, elegantly orchestrated by Leonard's company. For more than 30 years, he had devoted himself to that place, ascending the hierarchy with a steadfast commitment that was both admirable and alluring. Harrison Caldwell, his boss, exuded a subtle yet commanding presence, a man with whom I had only shared fleeting, courteous exchanges at past gatherings. He was in his mid-60s, tall and distinguished, exuding a quiet confidence that felt both effortless and alluring. The gala unfolded within the opulent confines of a luxurious hotel in downtown Chicago, where grand chandeliers illuminated the room, casting a soft, inviting glow over the impeccably attired guests. The room buzzed with whispers and laughter, the delicate clinking of crystal glasses, and the sultry notes of a live jazz band serenading from the corner. Though the allure of home was far more enticing, I found myself swayed by Leonard's insistence. With a hint of reluctance, I donned a modest navy blue dress, ready to step into the evening's embrace alongside him. At first glance, everything appeared to be delightfully mundane. As Leonard engaged in lively conversations with his colleagues, I found myself delightfully mingling with the other spouses, sharing whispers and laughter that danced in the air around us. That was until Harrison made his daring advance towards me. "Clarice, may I have a moment?" he inquired, his rich voice cutting through the lively chatter of the room. I paused, caught off guard. A moment? What could it be that Leonard's superior desires from me? With a charming smile and a graceful nod, I followed him as he guided me through a secluded corridor, away from the lively atmosphere of the main ballroom. The atmosphere grew more intimate, the echoes of the gala softly retreating into the distance. He led me to an intimate lounge, a snug haven adorned with soft lighting, a crackling fireplace, and sumptuous leather armchairs. The atmosphere was charged with a delicate tension, impossible to ignore. A flutter of excitement coursed through me as I settled into my seat across from him, my heart quickening in anticipation. "I trust I'm not interrupting something significant," he re-Leonard, a hint of shyness gracing his lips. "Not in the slightest," I replied, though an intriguing curiosity danced within me, refusing to be ignored. "What occupies your thoughts?" He sighed, his hands intertwining as if he were grasping for the perfect expression. At last, he uttered, "It's about Leonard." In that moment, I sat up straighter, a flutter of tension stirring within me. "Is something amiss?" He paused, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "Not precisely. Yet, there is a secret I believe you ought to be aware of." I sensed the gravity of his words even before they escaped his lips. His expression held a gravity that both intrigued and unsettled me, a silent intensity that sent a thrill through my veins. "Clarice," he continued, his voice a soft caress yet resolute, "I've known Leonard for a considerable time. I have observed him as he meticulously crafted his career, gracefully uplifted his colleagues, and tenderly nurtured his family. Amidst the unfolding moments, a certain realization has captured my attention. I took a deep breath, feeling a flutter of anticipation within me. What could it possibly be? He leaned in just a touch, his eyes captivatingly fixed on mine. "He doesn't cherish you as he ought to." The words fell upon me like a weighty stone, pressing against my heart. My breath hitched, and a surge of protectiveness surged within me. I don't comprehend," I faltered. "Leonard is a wonderful husband. He has always been." Harrison nodded. "I am well aware of that. But do enlighten me, dear Clarice. When was the last occasion he genuinely beheld your essence? Not merely as his wife, but as the extraordinary woman you truly are. I parted my lips to reply, yet found myself utterly speechless. He continued, his voice now a gentle whisper, laced with an alluring charm. I've noticed the way your gaze lingers on him, even when he remains blissfully unaware. I've observed you lingering in the shadows at gatherings such as these, while he immerses himself in his pursuits. You pour forth so much, yet does he ever reciprocate? A tightness gripped my throat. I yearned to argue, to assert that he was mistaken, but a whisper within me faltered. I hope I'm not crossing any boundaries, Harrison Leonard, reclining just a touch. But sometimes an outsider perceives what those within cannot. I breathed out softly, my thoughts swirling like a delicate dance. Harrison gazed at me intently, then bestowed upon me a subtle, knowing smile. Clarice, you deserve to be seen. The words resonated deeply, awakening a part of me I never knew was there. For the first time in ages, a delightful uncertainty enveloped my heart. I lingered there, captivated and still. Harrison's words lingered in my thoughts, awakening a desire I was not yet prepared to face. You deserve to be seen. Had I truly lingered in the shadows for so long? I yearned to dismiss his words as a simple observation, a thoughtful yet misplaced gesture of goodwill. Yet, beneath the surface, a part of me recognized the truth in his statement. Leonard was a good man, a diligent provider. He had always been steadfast, dependable. Yet in those hushed moments, the ones that held significance, when had he last truly gazed upon me? When had he last perceived the subtle ways I endeavored to keep our life vibrant and rich? The manner in which I folded his shirts just to his liking. The manner in which I adorned our sanctuary with his cherished possessions. The unwavering support I offered during each of his professional victories, allowing myself to bask in the glow of his success. I cleared my throat, suppressing the emotion that threatened to rise within me. Harrison. He raised a hand, halting my words. I don't wish to put you in an awkward position, Clarice. Yet, I found myself unable to remain silent. I exhaled softly, savoring the moment. Your candor is truly appreciated. I finally spoke, my voice a gentle whisper, softer than I had planned. Yet, Leonard and I have shared decades of our lives together. Marriage transcends mere appearances. It is a tapestry woven with deeper threads. It speaks of devotion, a promise of unwavering presence. Harrison inclined his head, a knowing glimmer in his eyes. I understand, and I hold that in high regard. He leaned in just a touch, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. But have you ever pondered what your heart genuinely desires? The question hung delicately in the air, charged with unspoken possibilities. What I desired. For years, I had devoted myself to Leonard's needs, to the demands of our marriage, to the expectations placed upon me. I had never taken a moment to reflect on my own yearnings. I released a soft, nervous laugh. Harrison, this is certainly an intriguing conversation to be having at a corporate gala. It brought a charming smile to his lips. I suppose it is. Yet, an irresistible urge compelled me to voice it. A delicate silence enveloped us, punctuated solely by the gentle crackling of the fireplace. He let out a soft sigh as he rose to his feet. I should let you return, he said, his voice laced with unspoken longing. I stood as well, my fingers delicately smoothing the fabric of my dress, betraying a hint of nervous excitement. Indeed, Leonard will surely ponder my whereabouts. Harrison nodded, yet his expression held an enigmatic quality. Clarice has made me vow one thing, however. I tilted my head, a playful smile dancing on my lips. What is that, I wonder? Do not brush aside my words so easily. Take a moment to ponder them. I paused for a moment, then inclined my head with a hint of agreement. Very well. He offered me a subtle smile, stepping aside with a graceful gesture toward the door. As I glided past him, I could sense the intoxicating warmth of his presence lingering near me, the weight of our earlier exchange still heavy on my heart. The gala continued to swirl around me in a dazzling display when I returned. Leonard remained precisely where I had left him, engrossed in animated discourse with his colleagues. He was oblivious to my presence at first. I lingered at a distance, captivated by the scene before me. His expression was lively, his hands dancing through the air as he engaged in conversation. It was a facet of him I had always adored, his fervor, his ambition. Yet Harrison's words lingered in my mind. Had Leonard ever regarded me with such intensity? When he finally turned his gaze in my direction, he offered a subtle nod before returning to his discourse. A subtle transformation stirred within me. Harrison had sown a delicate seed, and despite my efforts to dismiss it, I felt its tender roots starting to take hold. The journey home unfolded in a hushed reverie. Leonard sat beside me, his hands confidently gripping the wheel, his gaze intent on the shadowy road ahead. The city lights danced by in a fleeting blur, yet my thoughts wandered to a different realm. Harrison's words resonated in my mind, his voice lingering like a sweet, intoxicating melody I couldn't quite forget. You deserve to be noticed. I caught a fleeting glimpse of Leonard. He appeared weary, a delicate line of tension etched between his brows. Nearly 4 decades of marriage had allowed me to commit every exquisite detail of his visage to memory. The defined contours of his jaw, the delightful crinkles that danced around his eyes when laughter escaped his lips, and the way his mouth pressed together in deep thought. Yet, I found myself wondering, when had he last truly gazed upon me? He cleared his throat, shattering the stillness that enveloped us. Did you enjoy yourself this evening? The inquiry took me by surprise. It was a question he posed after every occasion, every soiree, every intimate dinner, almost as if it were a ritual rather than a sincere interest. I paused, contemplating my response. It was intriguing. He nodded with a distant gaze. Delightful, delightful, and just like that, the exchange came to a close. I turned my gaze back toward the window, watching the city fade into the distance as we ventured toward the serene suburbs. Upon our arrival, Leonard followed his familiar routine, slipping off his jacket, placing his keys on the counter, and retreating to his office for a final glance at his emails. I lingered in the kitchen, captivated by the vacant space he had just occupied, a lingering sense of longing enveloping me. I found no anger towards him, not truly. Leonard had always possessed this unwavering devotion to his work, a steadfastness in his daily rituals that was both admirable and, at times, a touch infuriating. He had bestowed upon me a life filled with comfort and certainty. Yet, Harrison's words had stirred a longing within me, a desire I could no longer suppress. As I glided towards the bedroom, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and the reflection revealed more than just my image. At 62, my once vibrant auburn locks now danced with elegant streaks of silver. Delicate lines adorned my face, whispering tales of the life I have gracefully embraced. Yet my eyes remained unchanged, and within their depths, I discovered a feeling I had long overlooked. A whisper of solitude lingered there. I had always believed this was merely a facet of growing older. This subtle retreat into the shadows, this slow surrender to the mundane. Yet now, for the first time, I questioned if that was truly the case. The following morning, as Leonard departed for work, he brushed his lips against my cheek and whispered, "I'll be home late. A significant client meeting awaits." I inclined my head slightly, a subtle smile gracing my lips. "Very well. Take care." And just like that, he vanished. I lingered in the doorway for what felt like an eternity before retreating into the shadows of the room. Typically, my days were consumed by errands, housework, or tending to the garden. Yet today, an irresistible restlessness stirred within me. Before I could second-guess my impulse, I found myself reaching for my phone, dialing a number I had never imagined I would. Harrison answered on the second ring. "Clarice?" His voice held a whisper of unexpected delight. I inhaled slowly, savoring the moment. "Would you care to join me for a cup of coffee?" There was a moment of silence, and then, in a gentle tone, he replied, "Of course." An hour later, I found myself seated across from him at a serene cafe by the lake. The air was infused with the rich aroma of roasted coffee beans and the sweet allure of fresh pastries. Outside, the autumn leaves twirled gracefully in the gentle breeze. Harrison's gaze met mine, filled with a subtle intrigue. Uncertainty lingered in the air as I stirred my coffee, the cream swirling gracefully into the depths of the dark liquid. I found myself hesitating, contemplating whether to reach out or remain in this tantalizing suspense. He nodded, anticipation glimmering in his eyes. I released a slow breath, the weight of his words lingering in my mind. His expression was a tantalizing mystery. I paused, then found the courage to meet his gaze. You were indeed correct. Something danced in his gaze, an unspoken allure that left me breathless. Clarice, I'm not claiming to regret my choices, I interjected softly. Leonard and I have crafted a bond that is both profound and undeniable. Yet, amidst the unfolding moments, I seem to have lost the art of desiring something solely for my own heart. Harrison leaned in closer, and in that instant, I felt a rush that made me catch my breath. In that moment, uncertainty lingered in the air, a delicate hush enveloping us, punctuated only by the soft murmur of laughter and whispers nearby. At last, Harrison broke the stillness, his voice a low, intimate murmur. All I desire is for your happiness. I gazed at him, truly gazed. He was a man with no obligation to intrude upon my world, no cause to utter the words he did, save for the fact that he had glimpsed something within me that I had yet to discover. And in that moment, clarity washed over me like a gentle wave. I found myself gazing at Harrison from across the intimate cafe table, my fingers delicately cradling the warmth of my coffee cup. All I desire is for your happiness to shine bright. His words lingered in the atmosphere, both weighty and tender, akin to a truth I had long evaded. For years, I convinced myself that contentment sufficed, that security, stability, and loyalty formed the foundation of a fulfilling existence. And indeed they did. Yet Harrison had revealed a hidden longing within me, a desire I had not realized was absent. I inhaled deeply, the heaviness of my emotions enveloping me. Harrison, I find myself at a loss with all of this. His gaze softened, a hint of warmth in his voice. You need not do anything, Clarice. Consider what truly brings you joy. When did you last indulge in something solely for your own delight? I began to speak but hesitated. When was that moment? I had devoted years to nurturing Leonard, ensuring his ambitions, his dreams, and his universe flourished without a hitch. I had crafted a life steeped in order and routine, yet a whisper of longing stirred within me. As I savored a sip of my coffee, the rich, bitter warmth enveloped me, offering a fleeting moment of clarity. Who am I beyond the confines of my marriage? I found myself uttering words that caught me off guard. Harrison offered me a subtle, knowing smile. Perhaps it is indeed time to uncover the truth. I released a soft, breathy laugh, tinged with a hint of nervousness. It sounds utterly thrilling, perhaps even a touch daunting. But isn't it thrilling, my dear? I found myself unable to respond. How could I? For within the depths of my heart, I recognized the truth in his words. We lingered in a hush, the world beyond us swirling in its usual dance. Vehicles glided by, laughter floated through the air, and the gentle breeze caressed the golden leaves of autumn. Life continued its relentless march, yet in this moment, a pause felt essential. At last, I placed my cup aside and locked eyes with him, a spark igniting in the air between us. Uncertainty lingers about what tomorrow may bring, Harrison. Yet, I feel an undeniable urge to embrace life once more. A playful smile danced at the edge of his lips. That was all I wished for you to understand. On that fateful night when Leonard returned, I was already poised at the kitchen table, anticipation swirling in the air. He scarcely glanced my way as he placed his briefcase down and loosened his tie, a subtle tension hanging between us. It's been a long day, he murmured, weariness lacing his voice. I gazed at him for a moment, this man with whom I had woven a life, this man I had cherished through the years. And yet, as he glided through the house, an invisible barrier lingered between us, a rift I had failed to perceive as it deepened over the years. I inhaled deeply. "Leonard, may we converse?" He hesitated, finally casting his gaze in my direction. "About what?" I swallowed hard. "About us?" His brows knitted together in curiosity. "What about us?" I hesitated, then finally spoke the words that had been simmering within me since last night. "I feel like a ghost, Leonard." He blinked in surprise. "What?" "I've devoted years to being the devoted wife, the one who holds everything together, ensuring that our life remains beautifully balanced. And I do adore you. Yet, somewhere in this tangled journey, I faded from view." He frowned, clearly taken aback. "Clarice, what is this sudden revelation?" I found myself shaking my head. "It has lingered in the shadows for quite some time. I simply never allowed myself to voice it." He settled into his seat opposite me, his hand brushing over his face in a moment of contemplation. "I had no idea you harbored such feelings." My gaze lingered on him, searching for the truth beneath his facade. "Did you ever wonder?" He remained quiet, and in that fleeting moment, a bittersweet truth washed over me. Leonard was not a bad husband after all. He was not intentionally unkind or dismissive. He had merely believed, as I did, that marriage was synonymous with routine, and that a sense of comfort would suffice. We no longer felt the need to inquire about one another as we once did. Yet that existence lacked vibrancy. That was not the essence of love. "Not anymore." "What are you implying?" he finally inquired, his tone laced with hesitation. I take a deep breath, savoring the moment. I must reclaim my own desires once more. His complexion shifted, a hint of concern flickering in his eyes. "Are you revealing my secrets?" he inquired. I paused, contemplating, then simply denied it with a subtle shake of my head. "My dear Leonard, the future remains a tantalizing mystery. Yet, I cannot continue to present myself in this manner. If we wish for our union to flourish, a transformation is essential." He gazed at me intently, and for the first time in years, I caught a glimmer of something profound in his eyes. Awareness. Perhaps there was a glimmer of hope for us, a chance to mend what was broken, or perhaps not. Yet, for the first time in ages, I felt an intoxicating readiness to discover the truth.